So good afternoon, everybody. I welcome a very glamorous panel I have, all women out there. So let's begin. So in today's digital world, where everyone has gadget in their hands, it's very difficult to, maintain the attention span. So let's begin with this, that what's the mantra to, engage your audiences in this time? Let's begin with Ashwarya.
So first of all, I love the theme of this panel because attention spans truly have become very short. And this I've learned over experience. I was also the official G20 MC last year. And we used to have definitely long meetings through the day. And then go on to cultural programs, which were supposed to be very short. And the hero was supposed to be the performance. So we had very strict instructions from the Sherpa that you have to not exhaust your audience and make it very short, engaging, impactful. But at the same time, keeping in mind that the performance is the hero. So as a Sutradhar or an MC, I feel my mantra would be connection before content and empathy before expertise. And that's because I believe that if you truly want your audience to resonate with you, you have to make an attempt to connect with them. So before diving into my material when I start a show, I begin to focus on, say, something which is a shared interest, with the audience. So it could be through storytelling, it could be through a relatable story, through acknowledging the energy in the room, or just a very authentic and positive smile that sets you up in the beginning. So that is what I believe in, and this mantra also helps me adapt with my audience. I have to see and gauge their pace, their energy levels, their mood, and resonate accordingly. So it's like a relationship, it's a partnership with my audience. And that is truly my mantra. And every event is unique, so I like to listen as much as I speak. That's what I do.
Any addition?
Adding on to what she said, we have been all, the panel out here, very strong, and they've been experienced for many years. Through their experiences, we all share our ideas. So for me to connect with the audience is what is the pace of the event? What is the kind of event that we have? And what is the need of the hour? That's very important, If it's mundane going on, and I'm a multi-talented artist. I am an anchor, I sing, I play a lot of games around, I do a lot of interaction, and I do tarot card reading. So I have to know what is required. So if a conference is going a little boring, what I do is I just get up and sing for a minute. That's what would add on a little high note and little different ideas that I can add on to this conference. And it totally depends on what kind of event that we're hosting. If we're hosting a wedding, then the energy level is always has to be high, and you have to keep engaging your audience. So it totally depends on the kind of events that we have, and one-on-one conversation, and when we're talking or when we are interacting with the audience, we need to see, is everybody involved? Is everybody is interested in that talk? If I'm talking to just one gentleman or one lady, is it connecting to the audience too? So I have to keep that pace on, and I think audience interaction is very, very important, looking into the eyes of the people and talking. And that's what we as MCs, we as professionals are called, that if there's something happened, there's some delay on the stage or the artist, we are there to take care of that moment. So interaction is one thing which is very, very important. Yeah.
Bhavana.
So firstly, my name is Bhavana Bhatia. Firstly, I'd like to say I'm so happy that there are all female MCs today, though I miss the male MCs, for sure. I think it's always a great balance, learning from everyone. I'd like to start with asking all of you, and I think that's what our expertise lies in, is engagement with the audience, right? So far in the audience, whoever is attending, did you meet 2 new people today? If yes, can you raise your hands? Just two new people. It could be me, it could be Krishna, right? Perfect. So my answer to Ojasvi is that understanding where the audience is, understanding their energy level. Okay, so for me, it's been 14 plus years in the industry. I said no to a job at Google, absolutely no plans for media, but it says that the art of talking really fascinated me a lot. मुझे बहुत मज़ा आता है बातें करने में, बट उससे भी ज़्यादा मज़ा आता है जब हमें पेमेंट मिलती है बातें करने के लिए, right? But I feel that attention span you can crack of an audience only if you understand what they want to hear. So let's start considering the stars of any event, not me, right? I might be inside, but the actual stars are always my speakers and my audience. So for me, the simple and the only solution for high engagement and high attention span is always understanding my audience, understanding my speakers, and doing enough and more research. Till day, I always feel that the last show which I host has to be the best show. It cannot be that itne saal se kaam kiya hai, oh wow, it's amazing. No, it has to be when I'm on one platform, am I justifying it or not? So Ojasvi, that's my take on it, yeah?
Any additions, Ritika?
So very good afternoon to this lovely audience, and thank you, Ojasvi, for having me on this platform. I think fleeting attention spans, we all agree, well, it's true, but I don't think so. It's particularly a new problem. For an anchor, your job is as good as how much of an attention you've been able to hold through the show. And in day and age of social media, it's become even more difficult because by swiping up through 15-second videos, we just seem to have completely damaged our attention spans. Let me just ask my audience here, and I would request all of you to be very honest with me. In the last 5 minutes, how many of you checked your phone? Please raise your hands. Be very honest with me. All right, about 50%. And out of all those who checked their phones, now raise hands who think that it was absolutely unnecessary to check the phone, but still you checked it. Right. So here it is. As an anchor, for me, the first and the foremost thing to be able to grab your attention is to actually create a hook. If you have checked your phone unnecessarily in the last 5 minutes, I'm kind of giving you a purpose to listen to me right now. What I'm going to say makes sense to you because this is something you do. You have a fleeting attention span. And after I have grabbed your attention, now it is my responsibility to make sure that the time you're investing in listening to me, you get worth every second of that time span, which means I have to keep engaging with you. I have to make sure that you don't feel it's a monologue, that I'm actually conversing with you. And I think very important from an anchor's point of view is that predictability is a killer of attention span. When my audience can predict, okay, one person, second person, third person, fourth person, there's going to be like point of view is coming. You have to kill that predictability. So like we just did, we just kind of quickly do a raise of hands. There was this show that I was recently doing where I felt that the tone was getting very flat and we were going into citations of the guests. And without it being a part of a script, I quickly got down and I took the mic to my audience, which was unpredictable. They weren't expecting it. And I said, when I say this brand name, that is the corporate I was hosting the show for, what is that one name that comes to your mind? Now, all these people were somehow associated to the brand. Someone said trust. Someone said champion. Someone said legacy. Someone said, you know, like blindly, I can buy their product. So that is how you keep your audience connected, by first grabbing their attention and connecting them to the purpose of the show. And secondly, make sure that nowhere does this interest flattens out.
Ridhansha.
Very well said, Ritika. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Can't hear you guys. The food was sumptuous. You had a good lunch, but it's time to wake up. Good afternoon, everybody. Lovely. Now you see, when I say and give you the kind of energy that I want from you, some of you resonate, right? I want to tell you all that it's such a lovely platform, and all of you people sitting out here, kudos to all of you because you have taken out the time to understand and develop your knowledge further to move ahead. So there is a beautiful poetry that I would like to represent. हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी, हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश में दम निकले, हजारों ख्वाहिशें ऐसी कि हर ख्वाहिश में दम निकले, बहुत निकले मेरे अरमां, फिर भी थोड़े कम निकले. How many of you have heard of this earlier? Can we have a clap for this gentleman who wrote this? This is absolutely brilliant. Come on, put your hands together. Thank you. So for me, something that touches your heart and soul, you can look at me. Your senses are pretty active there. You can listen to my voice, and I for sure know that it's a wonderful voice. But your attention is here when you start feeling what I say. That is my advice. Make the audience feel the way you do.
That's great. All these women out there are doing their job very nicely. And yeah. So, can you share some strategies, for the for as the social media and the trends are evolving these days? So, can you share some strategies that innovate their stage presence and true to the unique qualities that make them memorable? The performance. Can you share some strategies? Let's start with Bhavana.
Okay, this is an interesting one. So, when I entered the field, I used to always wonder that why would a client repeat me, right? Why would they repeat me for 14 years? Don't they need some change in the host or in the artist? Are they looking for the word freshness, right? What do you bring in fresh? But what I have realized is the magicians who are the event planners or the brands who are wanting to be represented are always looking for somebody who has that stage persona. Now, it's very tough for a person to describe stage persona in a line, but all I can say is stage persona is something that you would want to learn from that person, or you would want to interact with that person. It could be an artist walking, it could be a singer singing. It is something wherein you're seated and you suddenly forget what's happening around and you want to concentrate on that act, or you want to concentrate on that one person. But how do I, as an artist, or I, as a content creator, or an MC, end up in maintaining the stage persona? I feel it is by a technique called switching off and switching on. Personally, what I like to do. So before I get onto the stage, anytime, okay, all the 14 years, I'm sure there's a lot which has happened. I'm sure it's happened in everyone's life. But when you go on stage, it's a huge responsibility. So I think switching off from what happens in your life to switching on of what is required from you. So for me personally, that has worked a lot. That is one strategy I always like to continue doing. And second, I love, like she said, energy exchange. So I think continuously smiling, not that because I have to smile, but it's just the joy which I get entertaining or interacting with maybe my peers or my clients. So these two things I personally feel really help you with the stage persona. So that's my take on it, two strategies.
Check. In the world of the social media, in fact, if we talk about pros and cons and wounds from the social media itself, I've got a lot of fellow MCs and the young MCs who come up with some amazing ideas out of the box we would have never thought of in 20, 22 years of my experience. We come out, and we definitely, adapt that ideas too. So I think, social media is a boon that way. And when we talk about, when she's saying that, switching on and switching off, because I am here at this moment, you all are here at this moment, हम लोग ये एक पल जी रहे हैं, ये पल वापस नहीं आने वाला. So when I'm there on the stage, I need to know that I am here on the stage at that moment. What is happening at that moment? I'm alive at that moment. That's very important. So you need to really know that and adapt the audience, adapt that moment. And social media, hey, as we all asked, that कितने लोगों ने फ़ोन देखा, तो हर बार हम लोग चाहे बच्चे हैं घर पे या चाहे हम हों, we've been watching on our phones and drowsing ourselves in the social media. But we need to really look into how many hours that we have spent in a day and how much we have really learned from that. So I always, when I see some reels from my fellow MCs, what I do is I post that to my own WhatsApp, and I go on and have that ideas adapted in my events later on, which I've really liked. Some shairis or some kavita or some poetry or some games, I always adapt that. So I think, for me, I know that what I have to get from my social media. That's very important.
Ashwarya.
Okay, so there are two aspects to this question. One is, of course, social media, and I've been a very late starter when it came to social media, so I'll come to that later. But as far as strategies are concerned, the strategies you need to design in your mind when you're going to host an event, there are many things that I borrow from these ladies, like Ritika, just now she alluded to, in the first question, she alluded to how if there's a difficult crowd and how, if the crowd energy levels are low, how you can engage with them. And you should never ignore an audience that does not have the same energy level as you. You have to come up with ideas, anecdotes, storytelling. There's so many things that you can do to engage with them. So that is fantastic. The other thing that Bhavana also said about stage persona, as for me, my stage persona is an amplified version of my authentic self. So I like to be very authentic. So I have some background in dramatics as well, and from drama we learn that you're completely naked in front of the audience, which basically means you're transparent as a person. The more transparent you are with your audience, they'll connect with you faster. That is one. The other thing is that whenever there is an event, I always prepare myself with the, anecdotes or relatable jokes. Humor is very difficult because humor has a comic timing. And a lot of people are not born with that comic timing. It doesn't come naturally to them. But at the same time, another strategy in an event is that there are, unexpected moments that can occur. And when unexpected moments occur in an event, let's say a glitch just happened or something went wrong, you can take advantage of that and you can turn it into an opportunity instead of a hurdle. So those are many, many strategies. I always work on something related to the event because, anything can go wrong in an event. It's an event. It is eventful. There are times, I was hosting a very premier photography awards show at one time when I started very early on in my career. And the final award, which was the most coveted award, which was about, I think, the camera of the year. And that award was to be announced by the auditors. The gentleman who was carrying that envelope had actually stepped out to take a call. And at that point in time, when I just announced his name, he wasn't there. And everybody started to, murmur amongst themselves. And they said, the whisper started. And they're like, okay, we're bringing him. At that point in time, I treated it as an opportunity. I took this podium, but I said, ladies and gentlemen, if I can just share a small story with you. Mary and Cherry, just thought of those names at the spur of the moment, were walking into the jungle. And while they were on their walk, they saw a talking frog. And the talking frog started to speak to them and said, ladies, if you kiss me, I'll get transformed into a very handsome, rich photographer. Now, this was 2009 when I was hosting this. So Mary got very excited. Oh my God, this is going to, this is like a talking frog. It's going to convert into a prince. On the other hand, Cherry was a smart cookie. She picked up the frog and put the frog in her purse. And then Mary's like, what are you doing? So Cherry was like, you know what? In these recessive times, a talking frog is worth much more than a photographer. So that got the audience to laugh. And by that time, they brought the envelope in. The Mazer's auditor was inside. And then he came on stage, he announced the award. So you've got to do that. The other thing that I also use in my emceeing journey, I like to value add. Every time there is an event, everyone's very nervous. The organizers, hats off to them, all of you. The way you work, you spend sleepless nights over an event. The clients, they also are so worried about their event. What they do is very, very important. For an MC, it is very important to come and become the balm, the comfort, the comforting factor for them. So it's very important to prepare, work on your craft. And so what I do is I always take this as my value add. What will I add value with? How is it that I will engage differently? So those are some strategies. And as far as social media is concerned, I'm a late starter, but luckily I've just become a LinkedIn influencer also. I give public speaking tips on LinkedIn. I make reels now, and those reels get edited. It's fantastic to see that transformation. Earlier, I would just sit in front of the phone and just record something, but now, with everything advancing so quickly, we are all evolving, and thanks to that. So that's my answer to that.
Ridhansha, any additions?
Check. Hello. My God, you're looking so pretty today. Did somebody say that to you? Now, there are 10 people who are watching you. Thank you so much, everyone. You are paying attention. That's so lovely to know. So, everybody, you're on stage persona. I had a mentor once, and he said that, Ridhansha, you know what? For those hours that you're on stage, you're the Shah Rukh Khan of the event. So act and be like one. They can't afford Shah Rukh Khan on this event, but they are calling you. So you are that person for them. And my sister is a pro. She gave me this tip that, you know what? When you go in an event, you're meeting the MDs and CEOs and who's and who-nots of the industry. Try to think that you're a part of the industry. You're part of the company, that you are maybe the CEO, and you're so happy, After an entire year, you're coming together, celebrating the people with you. So that means you are the most happy person. I become that person. I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm absolutely high when I'm on stage. I really, really love interacting with all of you. So that's my secret of constantly evolving, thinking me to be in their shoes, and then realizing that we are celebrating tonight. And as far as change is considered, how many of you know what's the Oxford word of the year? If anybody has heard of that? No? You guys are not reading enough. My God. The word is, yes, sir. It's actually brain rot. Brain rot is all the time that you see your lovely screens without it meaning anything at all. Right? So I'll leave that to your discretion. The next time you see your phone, make sure that it is for something meaningful. That will be all from my side.
That's great. Ritika, any additions?
So I think stage persona, the moment I'm given a brief for a show, I never think about myself. And I think anybody who wants to make in this field, there are only two people you have to think about. One is the client you're representing, and the other is the audience who's coming to watch you. The culture, the values of the client have to come out through me. So I have to walk like him, talk like him, dress like him. I'll try and give you an example. There's this one of the big four consultancies, and I've been doing their international meetups for the last 4 years. And every year, by the end of it, people come and ask me, ma'am, we see you every year, but we don't know which department are you from. So I think that more than getting a compliment from the event manager, if I can actually come across that I'm one of the client employees, or I'm one of the people who from the company is hosting the event, means I have nailed it. But that can only come once you put yourself in client's shoes, that what is it that the client stands for, how does the client move, what do the client want to do, and just be like them on stage, but a more amplified version. The second is my audience. It's extremely important for me to connect with the audience, because if that is not done, then this whole bridge will never be traveled to. So at a recent event I was told, which was for a social forum, my brief was, ma'am, आपको ये event English में करना है, लेकिन आपकी English में कोई accent नहीं होना चाहिए, क्योंकि किसी को ये ना लगे audience में कि आप उनसे बेहतर हैं. So I had to bring down, I had to listen to myself in a couple of videos कि कहीं पे कोई accent तो नहीं है, कहीं पे I don't sound too polished, because they don't want that. Then only can my audience connect to me. So that is also a part of a stage persona, that sometimes you have to kind of come down from the level you usually operate at. And to get the client and the audience together, I think, I'll give you an example. I was hosting this interview of perhaps one of the biggest cricket celebrities in India, and he was being announced as the brand ambassador for an international bank. So I had to interview him on stage, but I told the brand that, if I ask him about how do you handle your personal finance, a cricketer cannot talk on banking. So let me ask him. So the question I put forward to the batsman was that when you're building a score, you're either chasing a score or you're going out to make a huge score so that nobody else can chase it later. With your personal finance, which of the two strategies? And my God, that just got that cricketer flow in. He spoke about all his strategies in banking, but in a cricketing terminology. So I think it's very important to let go of yourself. And as far as social media is concerned, Ojasvi, once you've nailed this, the audience, the client, and the connect, social media takes care of itself. If you are authentic, it will reflect on your social media. So for anyone who aspires to be an anchor, more than you plan what to do in your Instagram reel or show your hotel room or your outfit transition, it's important to put your genuine, authentic work out there. And in long term, that is something that will help you.
Wow, that's great.
And
Yeah.
since she mentioned cricket, I want to give you a cricket analogy on the best strategy there can be for an MC or a host or an anchor, which is your opening line, that's your first ball. You've got to make it count, right? The middle, while the event goes on, that is actually your power play. But that's your chance to score big runs early. And eventually, it is about partnership, you know? So the partnership with your audience is what matters, and for that, you have to have a lot of empathy with your audience and resonate with them, like all the ladies have just said. And the last thing is consistency. Like all cricketers keep, they keep refining their art, they keep working on their skill. We as MCs also need to keep working on what we do. So consistency also matters, and we've got to keep learning, keep listening to good speakers, keep imbibing, like some of them said. That's what you need to do. So that's my cricket analogy there.
So Ashwarya, as you recently, mentioned that humor or unexpected moments are more effective, to grab attention of the audience. So can you share some examples of your recent experiences?
Yes. So like I said, humor and unexpected situations can be turned into opportunities when you're on stage. As far as humor is concerned, like I said earlier as well, it needs a comic timing. So if you're good at it and if it fits, you could say that. Like at one of my events, I went to somebody and I asked them, "Sir, may I know your name?" And he said, "Kapil Sharma." So I said, "Oh, have you got a joke?" So, there is a line here and there is something that I could do. But am I really humorous? Am I funny? Not really, not as much. But at the same time, unexpected things that happen at an event, for instance, there's some glitch. The other day, I was using the teleprompter at an event, and the teleprompter glitched. And at that point in time, I said, "Oh, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I think even technology wants me to go off script and keep it real. I think I'm going to be my authentic self for a bit for now." And that gives, that buys time to the technical team to fix the glitch. So all of that happens. So unexpected situations can actually be turned into opportunities, and they should not be looked at as hurdles at all, because those are your moments to shine, truly. I guess as an MC, all of these beautiful women will agree with me.
Krishna, what will you add to it? Any example?
Oh, yeah. I would like to have two experiences. 2020, I guess, 22. It was Uttar Pradesh Investors Global Summit, and I was hosting one of the very important panel, which was the media and entertainment panel, which we had media from around the country, and I had panelists like Hema Malini ji, Ravi Kishan ji, Satish ji, and a lot of them. There were about 12, 15 of them on the panel. And the ministers took almost, they were all seated, one by one I announced everybody, and they were all seated. And the ministers took almost 25 minutes. And before the minister came in, nobody would speak. So I had this 25 minutes to handle the audience of media and entertainment industry and the panelists, these esteemed panels. So I had just read something about the Noida Film City. And I could actually, had this narrative and add on to that media and entertainment panel with the Noida Film City, because it was about Uttar Pradesh. So I had read, and that's how, I had actually resonated myself. And there was another instance which I recently hosted for one of the major clientele into cement industry, which was, I've been hosting them for about 15 odd years now, so they had called me again because I was very good at engagement. So in the afternoon, I have this ladies session that I generally have to coordinate and keep them engaging for 3 hours. So they were few activities from the agency, but they were not really appealing them, and they were not very happy with it. So people were really, bored. So what I did was, I had my tarot card, I'm a tarot card reader, and for the first ever time, I took that opportunity and took out my tarot cards, and I went off to the audience. I generally do one-on-one tarot card reading, but this was for the first time, out of the box, I went to the audience and asked them to pick up a tarot card and talk about them, their moment, their scenario right now, and what's happening in their life. And they were all mesmerized, and absolutely, people were really reconnecting them, and really it is happening in this life. So I think this was my involvement and my opportunity that I took my tarot cards and the audience that way. So I guess took the best incidents which I could share across to you. Thank you.
Bhavana.
So that's brilliant. Should we wrap up? All right, I'll keep it short, and I think I'm known for delivering in a lesser time, so I'll keep it
I'll also
very
wrap
brief.
up with the last question.
Sure.
No worries.
Absolutely. So, unexpected situation like this, the buzzer rang and I'm here. All right, I'll keep it brief. So, unexpected situations, yes, many have happened. I'll keep it short and brief on one or two, rather, just max. So, there's, of course, one of the former Shark Tank judges, Ashneer Grover. Got an opportunity to interview him on a very mega scale event. I don't know how many of you are aware, but many of the times the questions are pre-prepared. It's always checked with their assistants, the team, and XYZ, and it comes to the anchor, and we do not have much leeway on many questions, yes. But I remember when I and him started interacting, he refused to answer any questions which were given to him. All right, and I still remember that moment wherein he looked at me in the eye, and I said that, okay, so Ashneer, can I ask you questions from my heart then? And he said, yes, go ahead, and the audience started clapping. And I think that's what changed the entire persona of the entire event. Did I get nervous? No. Did I? In fact, I got very excited with that challenge that, hey, you know what, I can ask him what I want, but also in limitation. Because I know that I'm representing the client as well as I have to represent the speaker. So being well-read in situations like this, wherein the entire onus comes on you, is very important. Very unexpected, but very important. Second main instance was when I was interviewing Narayana and Sudha Murthy ji. Again, a mega platform yet again, but I still remember hardly meeting, because you normally end up in directly interacting with them on stage, but trying to develop that connect in a short span of time that they end up in disclosing even some of their very integral details. Because I feel that jab bhi kuch aap pooch rahe ho, if you're asking something to anyone, wo us level tak jana chahiye jo audience ko samajh aaye. So I cannot ask a personal finance question to an Infosys founder, right? But maybe I can ask his take on money, right? Generally, for an audience or a starting, a member of the business community. So I think unexpected situations always come in our industry. Could be a tech failure, but always remember one last thing I want to say, empathy. Empathy for the guy bringing up the chair for you, be it the hospitality guy, empathy for the sound guy, who has a lot on their plate, empathy for the event manager, and lastly, empathy for the client who's really worked hard. Maybe they have worked 6 months on that IP and you're there to represent for one day. So I think that empathy for everything is very important, and once you have reached their level, once you understand that the client and audience is your king, any unexpected situation you can manage, because after all, if you all agree, we all are human. Right? So be it whatever being said, being human and any unexpected situation works. Yeah.
Ritika, any additions?
I'll save you the anxiety. I see the time's up, so I'm going to keep it very crisp. I think unexpected situations definitely disrupt attention. When you create an unexpected situation, it definitely catches the attention of the audience. And humor, I think, humanizes us. I'll give you an example. Just last week, I was hosting this conference for a broadband company. The company provides Wi-Fi services to everyone, and we had to have an honorable minister join us online. In the middle of it, his speech, the minister froze. We tried for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, it just wouldn't come on. And nobody knew what to do because he was the main speaker. And I said, looks like the Honorable Minister doesn't use our Wi-Fi. And that made the audience crack up. So I feel humor is very important in connecting and in adding that extra bit to the audience and to your content. Having said that, this is nothing that an anchor prepares for. You are not prepared for a technical glitch, but unless and until you're consistently working at honing your craft, you cannot handle these situations. So your work is a lot more than the script you're assigned. You should be working at bettering your skills every day of your life, and whatever you learn between one show to the other, you should try it in the upcoming show and test it so that you get better at connecting with the audience.
Ridhansha.
Definitely, Ritika, you just nailed it with the last point. See, every day, at every event, there's something unexpected that happens. For me, it was the rain, and I said, oh my God, the gods of rain are also with us today, so we are very blessed. But that may go haywire for some of us. Every day you learn, every day you see unexpected situations that can be funny, that can be cruel, depends upon how you tackle the ball. It's like the white ball, if I may say. So, and it takes years and years of practice. Ritika, absolutely nobody can be that perfect on the first go. It takes some time to hone your skill and be happy, you know. A smile that you bring and laughter being the amplified version. It's the best way to connect to your audience.
So I'll just wrap up with my last question. So what advice do you like to give the aspiring MCs out there? Ashwarya. Just one line.
Very quickly, be a good listener. Also prepare, but don't over-rehearse, because like Ridhansha just said, vulnerability is also very attractive. It also helps you connect with your audience. So a fumble here, fumble there, don't get jitters about that. You can always go past that and make it better. And of course, you need to have consistency, like I said earlier, and you need to prepare. So you need to read a lot. Reading material will always help. But more than that, own your authenticity. I guess if you're authentic, that's half the battle won.
Be yourself and be authentic, as she said. And evolve yourself, keep upskilling your skills. Learn each day, learn from each of your audience, from each of your stage. That's what I could say. And yes, social media is a game now, so you need to be really present on the social media and put your authentic stuff on the social media. Thank you.
Very quick, center yourself. As Nani and I spoke in the speaker lounge, I feel it's the Zen stage. So irrespective of what's happening around, to any aspiring MC, just remember, be calm, be composed, and be authentic. Just deliver, and remember that the audience is always going to be your king, but your calmness is going to help sail the event to whatever magnitude it goes to. So that's my advice.
My advice would be, do not like to be someone else. Don't try and talk like some other MC. Don't try and dress up like some other MC. Do justice to who you truly are. I've been a news anchor on a national TV, then moving on to a live events anchor, then moving on to, and I've started with hosting weather on NDTV in 2002, to being a news reader and then live events, and now I coach people on public speaking in corporate world. So I would say there is no stop to what your trajectory can look like. When you think you've invented yourself, it's time to reinvent. So always keep learning.
I'd like to add, but that's something really different from all of you. I feel, start reading more. A book can give you 20 years of experience. And also find the right mentor. On this stage is roughly 80 years of experience sitting down there. But all the people out there, before you reach out to any mentor, read their stuff, watch their videos. Nobody is an idiot. If you come with all the preparation, they will help you out. I think it goes for all of us. We have reached out to people. And leave that space for yourself. Be creative. You have left all the professions in the world to be this. Add your spark to all the shows that you do. That will be all from me.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Thank you.